VMAX Audio Adventure. It's BJJ365. And today, I have another special guest. Not that special, though. It's Matt Skaff. What's up, Matt Skaff?
What's up, man?
Finally, you're on my little mini podcast.
It's been a while, man.
You've been ducking me.
No, I haven't, man.
Yeah.
I haven't. I've just been I had a huge shift, and I try not to use social media anymore. I'm trying to stay off. Like, it's just not me. I don't know. I was trying to be somebody else, I felt like, and it just I didn't have a Facebook. You remember, I didn't have Facebook for like 5 years.
Yep.
And I just realized I'm not the type of dude that has social media, you know. And if I ever get back on, just to you guys listening, somebody else is going to be running it. Like, I'm not going to be running
Well,
it. It's
that
just
might
not
be
me.
good.
Yeah. You know, so again, I don't know. So just no podcasts, no videos, no nothing. I mean, I don't.
You're like living in a cave, like a little hermit.
Kind of, man. I like it. I've been off it for a while now, and you know, obviously, I still have Facebook Messenger. So if anybody needs to like message me or something like that, you know, that's still real important. But just getting on Facebook and like posting or Instagram or any of that, I mean, I don't get on it pretty much at all. I don't get on it at all.
I'm going to start stealing you and just making you teach people your jiu-jitsu on my social media.
I wouldn't know because I'm not checking it. Like, oh, man, Brandon's stealing my moves. Or I guess I wouldn't be because I'd be teaching it.
Oh, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to start filming. I'm going to have Keelan film us, like, training, and me, like, we'll just have, like, little 10-second clips of me, like, passing your guard during the drilling. And then we're going to clip it and be like, yo, I smashed Skaff's guard, and you'll never know.
Nah, man, the people would believe it. They'd be like, that dude don't even use frames, dude. How's he supposed to stop a guard pass, bro?
That's what we should talk about.
Okay, yeah,
All right, let's talk about, so in my face, you hadn't been using social media much, but you did
I'll preface this. Keep going.
You did come on to the private Facebook group. Those of you that aren't on there, it's the BrandonMC.Ninja group on Facebook. Not my business page, not my brand page, and not my personal Facebook, but the group. It's like you have to request to get in. But if you want to join, just look it up and send me a little request, and I'll add you in there. Tell me that you heard about it on the podcast. But Skaff was in there talking about how he doesn't – I won't say it for you, but this is what it seemed like to me, how you don't – or you think frames are a crutch. That's what it basically was.
Well, what happened is, you know, a lot of guys, you know, again, I guess it's weird talking to people. Like, most people haven't seen me grapple, really. You know, like, most people listening to this have never grappled me, or they don't understand. But, like, I feel like my style, when I roll with guys, they always, like, it's just different. You know, I feel like it's different. And I guess that sounds maybe arrogant in saying on a podcast.
No.
But, you know, what I would say,
everybody's different.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, I mean, everybody that's good should be at least a little bit different.
Yeah, and I guess really, you know, a lot of guys asking me questions, you know, about what I'm doing, and you know, I guess where this all began, I'm crazy. Like, I think I'm like maybe one of the most obsessed people in this sport. You know, I mean, for a long time I didn't do anything but this. Like, people don't understand. Like, I didn't have anything else. You know. And it's not like I enjoyed that. Like, I still, like, I would rather be doing jiu-jitsu with 3 people on Friday night than out with the hottest girl in the world. Like, I would, you know, and or out in, you know, the coolest church, you know, in Italy or whatever. Like, this speaks to me, you know, and I could talk to you. You know, I've told Brandon, you know, I think it's in my blood. You know, I think I'm supposed to be doing this. And so, you know, I remember, like, rolls I've had years ago. You know, I remember the first time I rolled with people, like, even insignificant, and I shouldn't say, you know, just like a random white belt. Like, I'll remember, like, rolls I've had. I remember the first time me and Brandon rolled. I remember exactly what he did, and I don't remember anything. I've watched some Will Ferrell movies 50 times, and I couldn't tell you. I literally can't quote any movies. I can't. But I remember...
I'm backwards from that. I can quote every Will Ferrell movie, and I can't remember... I couldn't even tell you who I just rolled with. In the transition,
like, you could tell me and mention a guy like Mike DeWitt. You know, he's a black belt, spent some time at his school, he's been at ours. Like, I can tell you details on our roll, and me and Mike DeWitt haven't rolled since I was a purple belt, you know? And, again, I could do that with tons and tons and tons of guys, even just, again, random white and blue belts. And... yeah, I don't know why. You know, I've never met anybody else that could do that. that like, I don't know, but I can, you know, and it's weird. So when I say that, I preface that to the frames thing is because a few years ago, I'll like hear something and it'll stick out to me and I'll remember it and it becomes like a guiding philosophy that I'm trying to find in jiu-jitsu, you know? And so I heard something, Michael Bartlett, you know, as a brown belt under Brandon, came down a couple years ago. It was like probably 2 years ago, right when we had opened this gym up. I'm coming back from shoulder surgery, dying to be on the mats. And I was actually just starting to come back rolling with one arm, you know. And so I've spent, like a lot of you guys don't know this, I've spent a long time rolling with one arm, you know. And so I feel like that gives you a unique, like, I mean, I would say like not a long time as in 3 months, but like maybe 2 years, you know. And definitely over a year and a half for sure. Because I tore my UCL and was going to have Tommy John surgery. And then I tore my labrum and did have labrum surgery. And so Michael Bartlett came down, and he had just been to a Carlos Machado seminar. And he was telling me, I remember he was like, man, it was just fascinating. I've never seen anything like it. He was teaching a seminar on how to break frames and how frames aren't the highest form of defense. And I thought, and, you know, this is a time when I remember, you know, Brandon was going around, you know, you were going around teaching a lot of frames. Like, I thought frames was it. I thought frames was like the top. No, you just frame guys. You get on bottom, big guy gets on top of you, frame him. And he was talking about how Carlos Machado was just showing these super simple ways to break frames and how you can use guys' frames against them. And, you know, I was a brown belt at that time. Again, this is probably 2.5, 3 years ago. And it just stuck with me, okay? And then, like, something like that will stick with me, and then I'll hear more to the story. You know, I'll hear another guy. And especially when these guys are legends, it takes a lot more weight for me, you know. Again, I'm not going to say, like, it's just the truth, you know. If a purple belt's telling me they're doing something and then Carlos Machado's doing something, I'm all day with Carlos Machado or Huron or Hickson or Gordon Ryan, you know, guys that are out there, you know, doing it at the highest level. Okay?
You just spoke Gordon Ryan's name next to Hickson and Carlos Machado. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
Yeah, keep going. Love is jiu-jitsu, man. Yeah. But anyways, and so yeah, you know, that was kind of the first time I had heard this idea, you know. And I think a lot of times what you see is I've seen the same side control escape. Todd, if you just go in and type side control escapes on YouTube, 80% of them are going to be those frames, put your knee back on the inside. It's like guys are afraid to show their most. And I know, Brandon, like, you've been afraid to show some of your best stuff because it's not, people just think it's stupid.
Yeah, you can't, like, if you see it on a Facebook video, you're gonna go, oh my god, this dude is garbage.
100%. You know. And again, I when I was for the first, you know, again, all this stuff is happening at the same time. I'm sitting on the sideline. I remember watching Brandon. He was, you know, doing a lot of new stuff. I remember thinking I was going to come back and kill Brandon. I was like, dude, he's abandoning, like, everything we know about grappling, you know, and he's doing all this crazy, stupid stuff. And, you know, and that was really kind of the first eye-opening, you know. Again, I was positive. I was like, dude, I'm not even training right now. I'm going to come back and kill him. Like, it didn't make any sense. I mean, literally, he was showing stuff, and I thought it was like, I was just sitting on the sideline like, man, this is not going to work, you know. And so, again, I think a lot of times, guys, especially if you're not training with the highest level dudes, you know, you're not getting to see these minds, you know, whether, again, it's a Carlos Machado, a Jean-Jacques, a Donahue. You're only seeing most of the time the stuff they're going to show the masses, because if they show some crazy idea, everyone's just going to go, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
I just push you off of me.
100%. I've heard that on some of Jean-Jacques' videos, some of Carlos, some of Daniel, some of yours. Like, literally, if you show, like, any of your new stuff that you're working on, if it goes against the grain of what most people know, they just go, well, that's not what my instructor showed me, or I've been doing it. I'm like, dude, you're a purple belt, you know, like, and I'm not saying that to say, like, I know now that I'm a black belt, and I know now that I'm an idiot. Like, there's infinite knowledge in this to learn, and I guess that's what I'm just now coming to see. And so, again, that's where it began, you know. And then Daniel said something one time to me. He said, oh, yeah, there's 3 types of defense, you know. There's shelling defense, there's frame defense, and then there's a third level. And he said, yeah, the first 2 are like, that's what guys that aren't that good do. You know, like, that's just kind of what you teach guys at the beginning, but that's not what you want your defense to be like. And I was like, and he just kind of said it passing, but I'd already heard, you know, this thing that Michael Bartlett had said about Carlos Machado. And, obviously Daniel trains with Carlos Machado a lot, and so I'm thinking, oh, crap, like Daniel trains with Carlos. So I start, asking Daniel a lot, and looking and thinking about, how he plays defense. And then, again, it's what I say when I say that obviously frames exist, but most guys, and I guess it's tough. I almost hate talking about technique over the mic. I'm really starting to believe, like, you just got to come roll. Like, I'm just a firm believer in you have to roll with somebody, and I'm one of those types, and I know a lot of the higher-up guys, like, if you come in and tap me 5 times, the floor is yours. You could teach me a chi ball, and I'm going to listen, but we're going to roll, If you come to Decatur, I'm going to roll with you, and I'm not saying I'm going to beat you or you're going to beat me, but it's just that's the purest form of it, and if my style...
That's the only true... Yeah. That's the only real truth.
Yeah, and so, again, that's just how I believe, and to me, that's the only way we can talk about jiu-jitsu is by doing it. There is no talking about it. Again, that thread's a good example. And again, it didn't go too off the rails. It wasn't like people were bashing me. I mean, it's a really interesting conversation, but just let's do it, let's roll, and, I'll try my ideas and you try your ideas. And that's really that's the purest form of this. Yeah. And that's, again, the main thing I hate about social media is that it kind of turns into just this, everybody's talking. And it's like,
well, and social media is mostly a bunch of people who haven't earned the right to talking.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Like, it's great, though, because everybody has a voice now. Everybody has a voice, but it's terrible because everybody has a voice now, in any topic.
Yeah, and again, I'm not like, and also I'm coming at this too, is I'm just now starting to see, I see so many Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys, and we've talked about it too, that most of those guys aren't martial artists, and most of those guys laugh at the other martial arts, you know, and I'm starting to see, again, I remember at Purple Belt, like, oh, I tapped this D1 wrestler, oh, I did this or that, karate sucks, Tai Chi is a joke, yada, yada, everything was a joke except Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, because it won the first UFC. Because when it's on Fox, it's like pretty much they're like, this guy's got great Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and everybody knows kind of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is this. But I'm starting to see now that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has created, again, tons of flaws, I think in the practitioners. And especially the more I'm starting to train with catch wrestlers, the more I'm starting to train with other martial artists, I'm really blown away by the knowledge they have that I've scoffed at, for a long time.
I keep saying this, and I think people think I'm kidding, but I've learned a lot from reading Tai Chi essays.
Yeah.
And it's had a tremendous, tremendous impact on my grappling, like to the point where I would say it has revolutionized my personal style. And I think there's just so much to learn. I think a lot of my grappling is heavily influenced from my Tang Soo Do background. Like just distance management and being able to close distance on somebody, all that kind of stuff. Being aware of strikes, coming from wouldn't say I come from an MMA background, but that is kind of how I got started. Was like all my grappling was done with somebody punching me in the face,
Well, and I only judge my jiu-jitsu based on the top 1%. Okay, and that's the other thing is, to me, there's 3 types of guys doing jiu-jitsu. There's the guy that comes in and and again, all these are fine. I'm not saying, like, literally I'm dedicating my life to this. I'm doing this every day. I'm waking up at 6 a.m. to go. Like this morning, literally, this was my day. I woke up, I met Daniel, Daniel O'Brien. We did an hour yoga session, rolled with Daniel for an hour. Then I came to Decatur and I rolled with Brandon for an hour. Like, that was my day today. And, that's a very common Wednesday, for me, and I'm always trying to seek out, these guys, and so anyways, I'm always trying to test my techniques. Like, dude, if I hit a technique on a white belt, I don't go and teach it. I'm testing my technique on you and Daniel. You're traveled the world, you've rolled with some of the best dudes, you're a phenomenal practitioner. Daniel, his list of dudes he's beaten, and his success is, again, I know if I can hit stuff on you guys, I can pretty much, maybe not that like the top,
maybe not the Keenans,
maybe not the Gordon Ryan, but again, I know I'm getting close. I know I'm getting closer and closer and closer, you know. And so, again, what I find is the blue belt trap, and I tell this to our blue and purple belts all the time, is most guys are defining their success because they can beat 80% of the room. Most of your room are guys that are white belts and blue belts that are just beginner level grapplers.
And they're hobbyist blue belts.
Hobbyist.
There's a big difference between a blue belt world champion and a hobbyist blue belt.
100%, you know. And again, I don't even like to think about the belts per se, you know, because again, there's wrestlers that are phenomenal with, you know, we have a guy like Hugo, you know, comes in who's a beast, and like he's a white belt, but that dude's not a white belt grappler. Like he's easily a purple belt level grappler. You know, he's a monster.
Easily.
Maybe
higher than that.
And he's going to give a lot of brown and black belts a very, very tough.
Dude, he gives me a tough round.
100%.
He gives me a legit tough round. If I tap him, I'm pretty happy.
But most guys are judging their success, you know, and what works on, again, 80% of, you know, the room that is, you're doing that against beginners, you know, and that's why an Atos is so important for a lot of guys, is they're getting to test techniques. Keenan's getting to test the worm guard out on that. He starts with the blue belts, but he makes the DVD when he does it to the world champions in that room, you know. And again, what I'm teaching is the stuff that, like, I've hit on the best guys I roll with, you know, and, you know, a lot of it, you know, and again, a lot of guys don't know about me or even care about, but I've fought in a lot of beasts in competition, you know. I've had some really good matches with a lot of tough dudes since purple belt. You know, I've beaten Brazilian national champions. You know, me and Mike Davia had that great match at Finishers, and like I know I can hang with Mike Davia, and like if you can hang with Mike Davia in competition, you can hang with 99% of competitors. You know, and so I know I'm at that level, but I want to go higher. You know, and I know that there's more out there. I know there's this infinite knowledge, and I can't. My jiu-jitsu when I fought at Finishers, or when I fought like, especially a guy like Enrico Coco, or you know some of these guys, I didn't know. I mean, I'm infinitely better now. Better now. And I was getting good results then, but to me, this journey is not about that. It's about taking that step up the mountain. I'm fascinated with taking steps up the mountain. It gets harder and harder. Again, getting to where you can beat 90% of the jiu-jitsu world, which is, again, white and blue belts. And then, you know, you got a lot of hobby purple, brown, and black belts. That's not that hard. It's beating Johnny Grippo. It's beating John Calistine. I mean, they're fighting this weekend, so that's why I said their names. But
that's going to be real fun to watch.
Yeah, you know, and it's just testing yourself with those guys. And, you know, there's dudes we know, if you go to their gym, they're like, if you come to Decatur, like, I'm probably going to, like, we've never rolled before, like, you're going to get a competition level round.
Yeah, you might as well be competing.
Yeah, you know, and it's not, you know, and then after we've went hard, you know, or after we've went and done our best jiu-jitsu, like, you know, training partners, that's different than, you know, you and Daniel are training partners to me. I train with you guys every week. I've rolled with you guys thousands of times at this point. You know, when a guy comes down like Johnny Buck, like, that's like every few months I see Johnny Buck. We're trying to see, you know, Johnny Buck's a beast.
Where you at now?
Yeah, and, you know, and it's like he knows it, I know it, and then, like, we're good buddies afterwards, you know. And, you know, where I've respected catch wrestling, I used to be like, oh, catch wrestlers. But after one with Johnny Buck, I go, man, there's a lot to catch wrestling, you know.
There's a lot more knowledge out there.
Yes, than people give it credit. A lot of people go, oh, catch wrestlers suck. But
most catch wrestlers do suck.
But that's where it's tough. You know,
but most jiu-jitsu guys suck, though, I guess.
And again, it just depends on how you frame it. Because to me,
wait, how you what?
How you frame. That was perfect. But it's depending how you define. You know, because again, I tell guys, look, if you stay here 2 years and you can beat 90% of the population, you know, or especially enhance your level to defend yourself, like, that's a win. You don't have to win anything. You don't ever have to get black belt. That's a phenomenal, you know, achievement.
You know what? It's funny. Like, I think, I don't want to say backwards or opposite, but very different from what you're saying. Because I feel like for myself, once I get to the point where I can tap a weightlifter, like a bodybuilder, like a real power lifter kind of dude, in front of his girlfriend, like you brought your girlfriend to watch, and now me and you're going to fight, and I can tap you and handle you, that's enough jiu-jitsu for me. Everything else is just style points after that. It's just a matter of preference, you know? Mm-hmm. And so, to me, that's the part of the jiu-jitsu that matters, is like the part that I can give my daughter. Whether she can beat a world champion or not makes no sense. It makes no difference to me. But can she hang with a dude her size? Can she hang with him? that's good enough. That's good jiu-jitsu.
Oh, again, 100%.
But that's different than what you're saying.
No. I'm just saying it depends on how you define it. Like if you're the guy, I would go, dude, that's great jiu-jitsu. Again, there's white belts here and blue belts here that couldn't be more proud of, and I think they do a great job and have great jiu-jitsu. I'm defining this for myself. This is my journey. That makes sense. And
that's what I'm saying. That's my definition of what I need my jiu-jitsu to be.
Yes.
I don't need to be able to tap, like you mentioned John Calistine or Gianni Grippo. I don't need to be able to tap those guys or even do awesome against them and then lose. I just need to be able to smash up Zeke.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, big, strong bodybuilder. And, again, I think it's how you define what you're trying to do, And what the biggest thing that I would tell, I guess I'm supposed to give a tip or something, is like I've really started to try and take my emotions out of training. So I say all this, I'm trying to like the emotions don't matter, like in the sense of like your successes and failures don't matter.
Sure.
This is your journey. This is my journey. You can bag on me all you want. Oh, he said that thing about frames. Like, dude, you would have to come down here and see what I do, roll with me. On one hand, you could say that's the stupidest thing you've ever heard, and this guy's a hack, and this guy, how's he a black belt, yada, 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 But again, I guarantee you anybody that's ever trained with me would go, there's something, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm talking more.
I know.
And I'm talking more to those guys, you know. And because, again, it's like if we haven't trained together, I don't, like, if some guy across the pond was telling me about some, like, man, I'm hitting this crazy, like, all I do is grab a wrist and, like, God, I'm watching their video and he's doing some like Aikido stuff to jiu-jitsu guys. Like in the past, I would have just been like, that's the dumbest thing. Until he does it to me, I'm not a believer, And I feel like that's how most people take it is like, hey, that's not what I do. If we, and if I don't respect you and you don't do what I do, then it's wrong. And that's how I feel like the community handles it.
I think that's the way most people see things. That's never really been my way though, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like I've always, and of course there's times when I go, no, that looks ridiculous. But I don't know. I feel like having the open mind and looking at even something that, like we keep mentioning catch wrestling, something that catch wrestling does, I think that's really important. I think that's really, really important to my grappling.
Well,
I don't know any other way to learn because it's like, don't have somebody standing over me telling me what to do. I got to learn from you.
Yeah.
If you're on the internet saying something, I almost have to listen to what you say.
Yeah, and again, you were in a very different situation. Again, I'm still incredibly lucky where I get to learn, all the time from, you and Daniel. So I've always had a teacher, but at the same time, I teach myself, and I think everybody does. That gets really good. You have to just you have to find your own style. You have to take what your teachers, and you should. I think you should have multiple teachers. I think that's when it works best, But, again, a lot of guys messaged me and were like privately after that, just not a lot, like maybe 10. Hey man, can you tell me like what you mean? Like, dude, I can't write that out. I can't make a 5-minute video about that. You've got to, to me, that's what makes the student and teacher relationship very sacred and very beautiful, is like, if you want to learn from me or come down to Decatur, Alabama, like we have people, right, that come all over the world to just learn from you, and people come and they want to learn from you, and that's a very sacred and I think very beautiful, and to me, one of the most humbling experiences when a guy drops everything. Almost money doesn't matter. It's like, just show up.
Yeah.
Hey, I teach Monday at 7. If you want to know my stuff, like just take a road trip down here. If you think what I'm saying is fascinating, and you think I'm, and you want to like just come down. I'm not going to write a 2-page paper that's something like that's just not going to do it justice.
But if you want to learn what I'm doing, you know what you could do? You could go to www.brandonmc.ninja, and for only $5 a month, you can watch all these videos, and you can watch Skaff tap me out over and over and over on my videos.
There's no videos like that, but again, I really feel like that's a very introductory, to what you do. You can't be Brandon's student. You can learn from Brandon on the internet, just like I can learn from Hoffa Mendez. But again, this is to really learn what Brandon does, to really become and like one of his pupils, you have to be here. you have to find a way to be
Yeah,
here.
you have to feel what I do. And I know
100%.
Hickson always said that, like he was never going to make videos.
Well, that's
'cause
anybody.
You have to feel it.
Well, it's like Hoffa Mendez. You know, I can watch Hoffa all day until I go to San Diego and just go, hey, I'm coming out here a couple times every 3 months. You know, it'll just always, it will never be like that, you know. And it doesn't mean you can't learn a lot from, I mean, you can learn tons of stuff from videos, and you can kind of almost make it more your own. But again, I think I'm really fascinated in this teacher-student role, you know, and truly becoming a pupil. I don't care about money per se, as in, like, I would rather somebody take time out of their day. Hey, I'm teaching 7 p.m. Monday. Like, the guys that show up 7 p.m. Monday, that's the only class I teach. I'll show them stuff all week, you know, I'll take them off on the sideline because it means a lot to the guys that show up. But the people are just like, again, they want to write me like a, you know, Facebook message or like, you know, again, and I understand some guys love that and they're going to respond. It's just like, to me, my jiu-jitsu is so personal. I feel like I've sacrificed a lot. You know, you just got to come down and take my class, or you got to bring me out for a seminar, or you got to whatever, you know. And again, I'm not asking for money, and I'm not asking for any of that. I'm just saying that's, to me, the purest form of all this is like, hey, man, I like what you do. There's a reason I've been your student all these years and stayed. It's because I respect what you do, you know. I respect your jiu-jitsu. There's a reason I drive to Coleman all like 3-4 times a week to go train, because like, I want to be Daniel's pupil too. Yeah. I want to learn from him. If Daniel told me to, literally, you know, if you message me, hey, I need you 2 a.m. in the woods in Nashville, we're going up, like, I need you there, I would be there.
I know.
You know, and same thing.
You've never done that, but you've done stuff like that.
No, I have. I remember you were teaching a 6-hour private lesson, and I just wanted to be the uki when I was a blue. I was like, oh, please, let me do it. Let me be there. I was getting a free private lesson, you know.
Yeah, dude came from Georgia and did 6 back-to-back hours of private lessons.
Yeah, and I wanted to be the uki. I didn't get anything out of it. I mean, except the knowledge, you know. And that's always what I tell guys is like, man, if you know, you just show up, you know. If you want to train, ask me to train, you know, and be there. And I say that to do that to your own instructors. If you really like want to learn from somebody, dude, none of us are getting rich off this, you know. Like, we want to share this stuff, but we want to do it in person, and we want, I don't know, you know, it's just when you make somebody, you know, when you really just go out of your way to learn from somebody, they'll give you everything. You know, you've given me everything. Daniel teaches me anything I want to know. You know, there's no secrets. He's just, you know, a lot of times I don't understand what he's trying to teach me, but, you know, eventually, like 6 months later, I go, oh, that's what Daniel was talking about. He said, stand like a tree. I can start to stand like a tree, you know.
I need to get Daniel on here and just let him say some stuff like that. Like, jiu-jitsu is like a water drop. Yeah. Use your chest like a hand.
Yeah.
No, just be a tree. You know, that kind of stuff. All right, we got to kill it. That was like 30 minutes.
Oh, for real?
I know. That was like 3 times longer than we're supposed to go. Guys, Toehold, TOE_HOLD on Instagram. If you'll screenshot this, whether you're watching on iTunes or you're watching on the podcast app or Google Play, YouTube, whatever, screenshot it, tag me, tag Toehold, share it on your Instagram. We'll enter you to win a free pair of their personalized, customized flip-flops, handmade, handcrafted leather. Pretty cool.
Super cool, man.
I'm wearing mine right now. I'm wearing those 100% leather ones. These things are a tank.
No, they look awesome. They're beautiful.
And if I hit you with it, you will be injured. There. Them's hard. All right. So tag them up. Let's get it done. See y'all.